Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. Massive roster drama continuing, especially with where Saadhak might potentially go for next season. Big rumours on that, but also a major update to the game announced yesterday. Astra changes, and certainly chamber changes as well coming into play. Are we going to go back to a 2022 meta here in VALORANT? Who is that potentially going to help? Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you are new as always. First of all, Ascension is officially underway in Monterrey, Mexico for the Americas side at the very least. TSM, they get the dub in the first one. Will say, bit of a disaster class of an event so far. Is it a surprise? It's a VALORANT Tier 2 tournament. There are tech delays all over the shop. It's very unfortunate. It is what it is. I don't understand why it still has to be like this, but it is what it is. So it's literally only like a couple of hours ago, as I'm recording this video, the next morning, that everything ended over there. So only one series went to a map 3. There were so many tech issues, and it ended at about midnight. So it wasn't great. Probably today and going forward is going to be better. But this is how things look so far, and they've played 3 matches yesterday. The first games in the group stages went as follows. M80 got the 2-0 dub against All Knights. That was not exactly a clean series. It was 14-12 and then 15-13. Couple of banger overtimes. So it's interesting that it's this M80 team, because they are, again, relatively, I wouldn't say like complete favourites, but they're certainly favoured to make a serious run this tournament. And yeah, All Knights put up a big fight in this one. Of course, we know that they were scrimming M80 Sentinels the other day and getting slapped around, it seems. So maybe they're not as good as they would need to be. TSM, I will say they've looked pretty nice. So over the last few weeks, qualifying at least for this tournament, they did get the win yesterday as they needed to in a 2-1 job against Glory. So that was not exactly easy, but they did get over the line in the game 3. And yeah, the Abyss was a 19-17 absolute blockbuster. So I don't know what it is about, look, to be fair, there were tech delays, but equally some of these maps were seriously going the distance, and obviously Sim dropped 38 and then he tweeted about it, and for very good reason. And 2Game Esports, Brazilian team, they are also 1-0 to start. They actually destroyed Reta Esports from Chile in their first game. So look, it's the group stages. You've just got to get through as one of the top 4, and if you do, get to the playoffs, and then of course the rest is going to be history starting on September the 18th. But yeah, for the next few days, these are massively important games. For the 1-0 start is critical for the teams, especially of course, M80 and TSM, the teams that are going to want to achieve that from the Americas side. This is also worthy of note with the updates on the day. Split and Pearl are coming back 22nd of October. Let's not forget, those are the changes to the map pool we're going to see. I don't know if we're ever going to see, Breeze again, for example. I personally think they need to make relatively wholesale changes to that map if they want to make it properly viable for competitive. Good to see Split back though. Pearl, I don't hate it, I don't love it. It is what it is. But Split's a great map, and like Sentinels are going to be pretty buzzing about this, I imagine. And I don't know if they're going to make any changes. I don't think they will. I think that's been the rumor, that they're just going to bring Split back as it was, which is fine. I don't think they need to, but it's like, if you think a map is fine and pretty much perfect, you don't need any changes, why would you remove it from the map pool? I guess that's the argument. But like, they want to change things around over time. They want to ensure the teams have to be good at all the maps, which I understand. And obviously Ascent is still there, so maybe that might go anywhere sometime soon, I don't know. But let's talk about some of the buffs we got through. So Chamber, well, we talk about Chamber sometimes on this channel because I'm always of the mindset that Chamber is on the borderline of being viable again in competitive play. And it feels probably that might be true again as of this patch. So with 9.05, the teleport radius has been increased from 13 meters to 18 meters. So it was one of the things that was nerfed before. And obviously Chamber isn't as strong as it used to be. The tour de force is in his AWP. It's not as good as it was back in the prime Yay days. But nonetheless, Chamber is still, like, we still see him used occasionally. And the teleport radius, this is a pretty big deal. Like, this 13 to 18, that sounds like quite a lot, but when you actually look at it from like a circle perspective, that's a huge increase in area. 13 squared is 169, 18 squared I think is 324, so we're talking basically double. Like, in terms of the radius, yes, it's gone from 13 to 18, but when you look at it from a, like, pi r squared, circumference, whatever, like, area of the circle perspective, you find that actually the overall circle, that he can teleport through is basically double the size of what it used to be. So that's very interesting, and I do think we're going to see people try out Chamber a bit more. It may even be, I don't know your guys' thoughts on this, but you guys remember in Counter-Strike when it was discovered that the AUG and the Krieg were actually like incredibly strong weapons, but nobody, and like they were always strong, but nobody had played with them because the pros didn't think they were good until they got a very slight decrease in their price, and then people realized, hey, these guns are really, really strong, and then even when they put the price back up, they were still used a lot because people had understood now. So maybe, I do think Riot try that sometimes, where they see an agent and they say, you know what, we think this agent is viable, let's just give them a little nudge to use them again. And, you know, maybe that's what's happening here with Astra. Although, to be fair with Astra, she has kind of been outclassed now for some time. Viper's been a bit too good. Omen's been a bit too good. But, look, Astra's now going to have 5 stars again instead of 4. So that's a pretty big deal in terms of versatility of her equipment. And I think a lot of people are going to now start to consider Astra again. I think Omen will still be viable. I think Viper will still be viable. But I think this probably does help bring Astra somewhat back into the meta. And, you know, I'm excited to see what it means for the meta because, you know, if Astra is back and Chamber's back, that's really interesting. A couple of changes to the Ares as well. They've reverted the crouch benefits nerf, but they've increased the headshot multiplier from 2.4 to 2.5. So now it can kill within 30 meters instead of doing 144 damage that it did before. So that's a pretty interesting change as well. Couple of things upcoming for the game. Boaster says, hey, 5 stars on the Astra. I'm officially back, baby. So that's interesting. They did make a couple of changes to the Omen, but nothing substantial, just kind of like general character updates there. And as Vanity says, back by unpopular demand with the Astra buff, he's officially back in business. So some players definitely looking forward to this. But let's talk about some roster stuff. Shin and Tomasi, players on that Carmine Corp team for the most recent season. Tomasi especially was pretty damn good. Wonder what's next for him, but it was confirmed yesterday that he's not going to be playing for the roster, and then he actually announced that in a statement. He is a restricted free agent, however. Someone's going to have to buy him out of his contract, which is never going to be easy. But for a player like Tomasi, him and Narrate were really just mixing it up big time at the start of the season. The idea that KC started the season so well with that team, then they fell off. Now they're probably going to lose Narrate and Tomasi. I don't know if that's really a recipe for success, to be honest. This, though, from Cloud, still on Gen.G as it stands, but that may well change in the near future because he says new pages coming, contracts signs. So either he's re-signed a deal with Gen.G or he's going to go somewhere else. I mean, I'd love him to be on Cloud9 because that would just be funny, but that's probably not going to happen. But yeah, where's Cloud going? Intrigued to your thoughts in the comments. Not sure there's been too many rumors on it, to be fair. This was Mini, by the way, on stream. This is a picture of this Zeus player, and this was like just... maybe Sliggy told him to do it, I don't know. I think he's leaked it intentionally, it is what it is. But I think it's the player of that duelist that they were linked to, Fnatic, which may or may not be true, time will tell. Where though is Saadhak going to go? Because he puts this out yesterday, the kind of famous graphic of Messi and Ronaldo playing chess. And like you can read into this a number of ways, whether he's thinking about what he's going to do, whether he's kind of weighing up options between one player or one team and another, or whether he sees himself as one of these individuals and he sees somebody else as somebody else. I don't know. Intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below on what exactly this might mean from Saadhak. What is interesting, though, actually really rather interesting, is that Sergio Aguero, who of course is a CEO and like owner of Crew Esports, he quote tweets this and says, wonder what's going on, because Saadhak has been heavily linked to Crew to join Aguero's team, which I think would be a good get for them. And it was heavily rumoured a few days ago now that this is basically going to be happening. Then, well, Saadhak has said, well, I've got multiple offers from multiple teams around the world. I'm not hurrying into a decision. Whoever gives me the best offer and is the most compelling, I'm going to go there. And that's certainly fair enough. But it does seem of all the options, Crew remains marginally the most likely, and maybe Saadhak has either made up his mind now or whether something's happening there. But yeah, Aguero quote tweeting this I thought was kind of wild, to be honest. Another story from that region is that Crew are seemingly letting go of Heat. So he was on the team and now they're going to decide to basically get rid of him for next year. And yeah, he's pretty seemingly confirmed this himself. So wishing the best for him going forwards. But you know, all these teams are making moves right now. And look, we don't know who Sentinels are going to bring as their 5th player. We're pretty sure that Sassy's going to go and somebody else is going to come in instead. It's not going to be Shroud, is it? This just just, I mean, what a timeline this was. Like July 2022 when Shroud joined Sindel to play with their roster. That was like, feels still like a bit of a fever dream. One quick thing to mention here is that Adam Adamu here, so he's over at Overactive Media, they own Toronto Ultra and a few brands over there. He actually talks about how NRG, after exiting the LCS, have effectively used the slot to raise money. And, you know, he's kind of debating whether that is fair or not and talking about the ROI they've gained by doing so and etc, etc. But the reality is NRG, it seems, have some money to play with now, and therefore people have been debating whether they could use that money to, let's say, buy Durka or pay for Verno or whatever the case is. So I think NRG, they do not have to hold back, I would say, on their decisions this Rostermania cycle, but obviously as of yet, there's not been any crazy updates over there. This is the latest VCT spreadsheets one, which is, you know, relatively conservatively updated, but rumours that Heat is going to go, that Less is even less likely than he previously was to stay on Loud, so that team is a shambles, and then even a Havoc slightly reduced his likelihood to stay on Furia, which is pretty interesting, but as it stands, NRG is probably going to be Som FNS, probably Ethan, let's be real. Verno seems very likely, +1. Whether that's Demon 1, whether that's somebody else, that of course is a question that you guys might give your thoughts on in the comment section below. And also, let's not forget, Marved is still kind of out there somewhere, right? I mean, he was on the Optic team, of course, then he was on Sentinels, then he was on NRG. That didn't end especially well. He was dropped for, you know, I don't exactly say work ethic reasons, but to that effect anyway, was why he was off the team according to Chet. But still, he is looking to make a return, and, well, I imagine he is anyway. And obviously, we know what Marv's capable of when he's at his best, and obviously has a good controller. Astra is getting buffed. There's some questions on where Marv might fit into a potential roster for next season, but very much enjoyed your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, take care, and I'll see you next time.